Drugs in the brain, a neurological overload. One part of the brain that drugs such as alcohol, cocaine, nicotine, and opioids target is the basal ganglia. The basal ganglia controls feelings of pleasure such as eating, socializing, and sex. Many drugs are chemically designed to target the part of the brain that acts as the reward circuit. Drugs overactivate the reward circuit in the brain, which then produces the euphoria of the drug high. With time, the brain gets accustomed to the high and the effects of it lessen. A lessened high forces users to increase dosage to achieve the desired effects. Repeated use of drugs to achieve the high increase difficulty in finding pleasure in anything other than the drugs. Another part of the brain that drugs target is the extended amygdala, which controls feelings of anxiety, depression, stress, and paranoia, and causes a feeling of withdrawal once the drug high fades. Chronic administration of drugs of abuse leads to an increasing dysregulation of brain reward systems that is characterized by decreases in reward function. Over time, a person with a substance use disorder, or SUD, uses drugs to get temporary relief from this discomfort rather than to get high. Many people who already struggle with disorders linked to the extended amygdala, such as depression, anxiety, and other common mental disorders, have an increased risk of being majorly affected by the use of drugs. The prefrontal cortex powers the ability to critically think, problem solve, make decisions, and manage time. Intoxication impairs regular function of the prefrontal cortex and allows for riskier decisions to be made and increased lack of rational thinking. Neurotransmitters get targeted by chemicals which deactivate and disrupt the prefrontal cortex and lead to risky decisions and irrational thinking. Some drugs, such as opioids, affect the brainstem, which control involuntary life functions. Opioids can be seriously harmful to a person's life because they act on many places in the brain and nervous system, including the brainstem, which controls things your body does automatically, like breathing. Also, the spinal cord, which receives sensations from the body before sending them to the brain. Here, opioids decrease feelings of pain and even after serious injuries. The brainstem controls basic functions critical to life, such as heart rate, breathing, and sleeping, explaining why overdoses can cause depressed breathing and death. The prefrontal cortex is the last part of the brain to develop, meaning that teens are most vulnerable to the effects of drug use. Teenagers, already at risk for SUDs and mental disorders due to changes experienced during adolescence, are the most vulnerable to drugs and experience the most severe long-term effects. It is important to abstain from taking drugs, to stay out of harm, maintain a healthy brain, and stay alive, especially in teenagers who are most susceptible to the effects of drugs and can more easily get an SUD or mental disorder. Drugs have a detrimental effect on your brain and should be avoided to maintain a happy and healthy lifestyle.